What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Jayla's POV video. My name is Jonathan, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about my freshly installed K&N cold air intake on my 2015 Scion TC. I've had this intake for about a week now, so I'll be able to give you proper opinions and pros and cons on how I feel about the filter, and just go over 3 or 4 main things that people say they experience when installing this intake. This is stock. I have not tuned it or anything. It's just running on the air fuel sensor. So, with all that said, let's get straight into this. Now that we're in the car and we're driving, let's get to talking about the things that I've noticed and reviews and stuff that other people say about how the car performs after installing the K&N air intake, right? So first things first, people like to talk about power increase. Does it increase power? Does it feel faster? Does it perform better? Speed changes a little bit. I'm here to tell you guys that no, it does not improve power drastically, I should say. Okay, so we're basically stopped now. We just pulled up to the light and we're gonna get going. Low end torque, low end power don't necessarily feel any faster, don't necessarily feel any quicker. What I can say is that around between 3,500 to 4,000 RPMs, you do feel a bit more soul from the car. You do feel a little bit, just slight more oomph from the car, but it's not drastic. It's not like the cold air intake from K&N is going to turn your Scion TC into a race car. That's not what's going to happen, especially in my case where I haven't even gotten it tuned yet. I'm planning on it, but as it is right now, it's running just fine on the air fuel sensor. Now, talking about the air fuel sensor, there's a few things that I want to get out the way. Like I previously mentioned, you will be asked, when following the instructions that K&N provides, you will be asked to remove the battery, to disconnect the battery. Not remove the battery, disconnect the battery. And once you disconnect the battery, you're gonna have to give it around 15 to 20 minutes. I gave it half an hour, but it says between 15 to 20 minutes to let the system reboot, right? Reset, relearn the new airflow and everything that's coming in. I did that. Like I said, I gave it around 30 minutes and plugged it back in. I had no issues with the car running. However, the one thing that I did have is that I turned the car on for the first time after like 15-16 hours with the new K&N air intake, right? So it was a cold startup. I started up the car was running fine. The car did not have any issues. I let it run for around 10 minutes. The first 5 minutes with the AC off, just let the car really warm up without having the fans kicking in. The other half of the 10 minutes, I let the car run with the AC on. Now, that's not the issue. The issue comes from the fact that I turned it off, right? And then just let the car set for around 30 minutes. After the 30 minutes, I came back to turn on the car to take it out for a drive, right? The car had already been turned on. It was warmed up. Everything was good, all ready to go. So I turned the car on, but then this time I noticed that the car was idling a little weird. And what I mean by that is, I will turn on the car. This car right now is warmed up. If I were to pull to the side, turn it off, right, and turn it back on, right, it will idle between 600 to 800 RPM, depending on whether you have the AC on or not. Obviously, if you have the AC on, then it's gonna idle a little higher. But between 600 to 800 RPM, that's a normal idling, for this car. When I turned it on, after the 30 minutes have passed, the car was dropping below 500 RPM, which was weird. It was acting as if it was gonna stall, and then the RPMs will rise back up. So I immediately went to check on the filter. On the intake, I checked all the grommets and everything, make sure everything was tightened up. I checked for any air leaks. I tried to listen for any air leaks, but nothing. It was pulling air where it was supposed to pull air from. No issues. So whatever, I turned the car back off, gave it another like 2-3 minutes or so, turned it back on and it was still idling weird. So I was like, you know what, just let me take it out for a drive. I took her out for a drive. I drove it around 15 minutes and then came back, and I was like, is it gonna still be idling weird or is it gonna be fixed already? And I turned it off, gave it a little while, then I turned it back on and the idle was fine. So apparently you have to give it time for the air fuel sensor to learn all the new airflow that's coming into the car. But other than that, I haven't had any hiccups with it. I just thought it was important to mention it because some of you guys might experience the same thing that I did. Don't panic. Just if it happens to you, don't keep turning it, you know, on and off like I did. Just take it out for a drive, quick drive, just a quick lap. And I was noticing that after that, it was still having a little bit of trouble adjusting, but not as in the way it was pulling in air or the idling, everything. All of that was fixed afterwards. But I'm talking about my next topic on it, fuel economy. Now, talking about fuel economy, one of the biggest thing that people talk about when it comes to this intake system is, does it improve fuel economy? Well, as you guys can tell, yes, it does drastically improve fuel economy. So I have my cruise control around 57, 58 miles an hour right now. I'm on the highway, and it drastically improves fuel economy. I was getting before with the stock intake box around 35, you know, it's around the same speed. I hit 60 miles an hour, hit cruise control, and I was getting around 35, 34 and a half, 35. Now I'm getting almost 37. So it does noticeably improve fuel economy, at least in my case. Well, at least in my case. So, and this is perfect. We pull up to a red light, gives me a little more time to talk about. So it does drastically improve fuel economy, at least in my case. I've seen reviews, I've read reviews, I talked to different people that have installed the same kit, and they all say that the same thing. It improves for some people a little more, for some people a little less. For me, it gave me around 2.5 to 3 miles per gallon more. So yeah, to me, in my case, it did improve with fuel economy noticeably. It's not like I just gained a mile per gallon, no, like I gained like around 2 or 3. So it is helping with fuel economy. And in case that's one of the reasons why you're buying this intake system, is for better fuel economy, then my opinion is go for it, go right ahead, because more often than not, it does improve fuel economy. More often than not, it does improve fuel economy. Next topic is sound, and for this one, I'll just let you guys be the judge of it. Yeah, it definitely gives it a growl sound, and I don't know how well the camera is picking it up, but from around 3,000 to 3,500, maybe 4,000 RPM, it still sounds kind of raspy. It sounds kind of dumb, you know, like a dumb 4-cylinder, how it sounds. But past that 4,000 RPM mark, man, I can tell you it really has a growl, like an oomph to it, to the sound. And that's kind of when the power really starts to kick in. So that extra power that I said, just like, that's when you really start to feel it. So yeah, it's like you just saw, it took us forever to get up to 60 miles an hour, which is highway speed here. And you're not necessarily getting a race car because you install the K&N cold air intake. You know, it's reality is this is a Scion TC, and you can probably throw $10,000 into it, and you're still not gonna be one of the fastest cars on the road by today's standards. But you know, it does improve sound, and it's fun. Like, it's genuinely fun. Another plus that I found on this air intake system is that when you install it, right, there's these rubber grommets, right, or there's like rubber pads that you screw onto the originals. There's spacers, these rubber spacers that you screw where the original bolts will go for the, you know, the original OEM airbox, and it raises up the intake, right, where the intake goes, like about an inch or two. And then on the back you have like this giant spacer to get that long bolt that goes all the way down, and that also, you know, it helps the whole thing lift a lot. So it prevents with hydrolocking this engine, because it sits up so much higher now, and 2 inches is quite a lot of, you know, I guess you can say of length to raise just your intake, right? So that's another really good positive that I found on this K&N air intake system. To sum everything up and give you guys my proper opinions on this K&N cold air intake system, I would just say that my personal experiences with this car so far has only been 1 week of ownership, but besides those few minor hiccups at first, I gotta say, man, this intake system has been awesome. I have no complaints on this intake system. I love the sound, and it has like this whistle as well that I forgot to mention earlier. As you're accelerating, like on the lower RPMs, it kind of has like this whistle. It sounds awesome. So I don't know, my personal opinions are, I love this intake system. I love the fact that it checked all the boxes, everything that I was personally looking for, which is a little bit better fuel economy, better sound, a little more power, you know, at least just a little more oomph. It checked all those boxes, and that's why I bought it, because it checked the boxes that I was personally looking to check. Now, if you guys aren't, you know, trying to check these boxes like I am, then I guess maybe try to go for a different intake system. But I love it. And one major thing that I forgot to leave out, the heat shield that it comes with does a magnificent job at keeping out all the hot air from the actual intake filter. It is so good at its job. Best way I can explain it, I put my hand on the heat shield. It is burning hot, right? Even after just regular driving like I'm doing right now, it is burning hot because the engine gets burning hot. So it is extremely hot. But I go like this on the intake, right? And even on that like little metal plaque, that a circle that it has in front with the K&N logo, I touch that and it's still hot, but it's not as hot as the heat shield. It does an impeccable job at blocking out hot air from the intake system. It is, I'm so happy that K&N did it, and they actually put some thought behind it, because I know some other intake systems that have a heat shield, but they don't work nearly as good. So honestly, huge thumbs up for that idea when it comes to, you know, to K&N for that idea. Awesome, man. I have no complaints about this intake system. So it's all up to you guys and what you guys are looking for. I've heard plenty of people give great positive reviews about this intake system, and I am now joining the train of people giving good reviews about it, because it genuinely is a good system. If you're willing to put up with the install headaches and, you know, all the little things that come with it afterwards, you know, just getting used to the new airflow and stuff, at first it's a pain in the butt, but it's so worth it because it's awesome. That has been my honest review, my honest opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy today's video, just let me know in the comment section if you guys are rocking a cold air intake, and if so, what are you guys rocking with? What brand, what system, for what car? And with all that said, man, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Jonathan, and you just watched a J-List POV video. Thank you guys so much.